Hey everybody, welcome. So it's Friday night. That's my favorite day. I don't know about you guys, but for me, Friday nights are always about celebrating the week, regardless of what kind of week I've had. So it's the moment where I'm like, I don't care if I've had the shittiest ass week or the most epic week where everything went awesome. Right now, it's my time to say, fuck it, I'm alive, and that's great. So, also, I was born on Friday the 13th, so Fridays are always super special to me. But anyway, I may or may not have already started my celebrations for the night. So, as we chit chat here, I hope you don't mind. I might drink a little bit with you guys because that's just fun. So, tonight, I want to know what kind of rebel sub-archetype you are. Now, we talked about the first two a couple days ago. That was rebel and what was the other one I talked about? Rebel and not activist. It'll come back to me. But tonight we're talking about activist, reformer, and gambler. So my question to you, would you rather gamble, gossip, or fight with your friends? That's really where this comes from, are these three. So I'm going to start with the activist. Oh, rebel. Obviously that was the other one. That's why I couldn't remember it because it was so easy. Anyway, so tonight we're going to start with activist. And activists are all about fighting for a cause. So obviously we all know what an activist is, but it's really an important distinction from the rebel. Because the rebel archetype, as we described, they really wanted to change people's beliefs and hearts and minds on whatever topic was important to them. So if you think about the rebel, they want to change people on an individual level, like this one-on-one sort of deal. Whereas the activist is looking to change and transform systems. So systems meaning economic, political, social systems. All of those, think about like laws that govern society. That's really what activists are about reforming. So whereas rebels are more that one-on-one, I want to change your heart and mind and your beliefs. These activists, they're really more about changing the actual structures that they're passionate about. So they have this fundamental belief that if they get enough people together, there's power in people, and that will really change everything. So if we get a cause, we'll be able to transform, like I said, laws or social structures and things like that. So that's really at the heart of these activists. And they have this wonderful power of getting people behind them in large groups. So not necessarily about one-on-one work like the rebels, but this is really about the whole society. So they're super, super powerful. The next one that I want to talk about is a reformer. Now, these guys, they tend to get overlooked as rebels a lot because they don't want to so much destroy or change what exists in a fundamental sense, but these people, they want to improve what exists. So they are like the whistleblowers among us. They're the ones who look at any system that exists and really are able to point out the flaws, the inequalities, the injustices. And it's those pieces that they're interested in going after and improving. So they are all about really improving systems that exist already. Now, why these people are really not considered rebels by a lot of other people is because they don't necessarily act outright provocative, right? They tend to be the ones that are more corporate, like they fit in a little bit better to the whole structures. But when push comes to shove and they see something that's just not right, they are the ones who will take a stand, and they are the ones who will intervene and step in and do whatever it takes to right the wrong that they see in the system. Then we have the third one we're going to talk about tonight is the gambler. Now, this one is super fun. So gamblers, think of them as the suave risk takers, right? These are kind of like the James Bonds, if you will. They thrive on risk. These are the thrill seekers, the ones that go out and are willing to put it all on the line regardless. So they're really socially adept and they have amazing instincts with people and with situations. So they're able to navigate well, really kind of dangerous or tricky situations. Think of them as the Mission Impossible people or the spies, for example, right? These are really our gambler sub-archetype. Now, what I want you to think about that's kind of fun, and this is the way I like to think about it, is if you take those 5 rebel archetypes that we've talked about and think of them as a team, right? So you've got the Mavericks. And if you remember, the Mavericks were the one, they were just like live and let live. They just want to be personally free. They don't want anybody else to impose any kind of structures upon them, and they don't want to do it to anybody else. They just want you to live however the fuck you want to live and be who you want to be. So they live by example because they're not really interested in changing anybody or anything. They just want to exist as they are and do whatever they want. And they want you to do the same. So if you think about them as like almost a figurehead, they're an example, right? They just live and embody the example of freedom, of personal choice. And then you have, in the middle, you have the rebels. And they want to work with people on one-on-one. And they want to make those changes to beliefs and feelings and hearts and minds on that individual level. Then you have the activists. And the activists, they want to take those changes that are happening like a one-on-one, let's say, with people that the rebels are doing, and they want to systematize it. They want to codify it into law. They want to actually go in and fight for a different economic system and fight for a different, let's say, agricultural system or political system. They're the ones that are able to take the work that the rebels are doing with people, organize it, make it a structure, and then actually implement it as an overarching thing. So an overarching way that the culture, the society, the country is actually going to live by. And then once that system is in place, then the reformer's job really comes in. And they look at the systems that have been built and they're able to fine tune it. So they're kind of like the people that go in almost as detectives and they're like, all right, the system itself is pretty good. Not bad. I like the way it's going. However, maybe there's a little injustice here. Maybe there's a little prejudice here. Maybe somebody at the top is doing something really wrong and fucking with the whole system, that if we just get rid of them, the system will work again and will function as it should. So they're the ones that go in there with a fine-tooth comb and are able to optimize the systems that the activists have put in place. And then when things get really tough and you need some kind of special forces team or individual, as it were, then you bring in the gambler, right? And so the gambler is able to go in and kind of do those Mission Impossible type tasks that maybe push the activist mission forward or negotiate something that's really difficult that other people would shy away from, especially if you're dealing with other groups, that might be not so nice people or whatever the case may be. They're the ones that kind of like go in and they're like your sniper and they will help you and perhaps fix whatever problems have come up that are very, very difficult that no one else wants to take on, especially once they believe in it. Because that's the trick to the gambler, right? They have to believe in whatever it is that they are going to put themselves at risk for, and that they're actually going to put their energy and their effort into maneuvering for you. So that's the whole kind of rebel team, if you want. So now you can see why it's so important to really fine tune, who are you? Like, which one of these categories do you tend to find yourself really drawn towards? If you think about your heroes or people that you look up to or mentors, whether they are fictional or real, maybe they're in books or movies or in your real life, which is awesome. What are their qualities that you really admire in them? Are they more activists? Are they more on that global level? Or are they more the people that are community leaders and are trying to work one-on-one with people, more of that rebellious archetype? Or are they the James Bond and the Mission Impossibles and, throw me into some kind of crazy situation and let's see what I can do? All of them are extremely important when it comes to catalyzing change and pushing humanity forward. And all of these things that really this academy is about. So this is ground zero, is helping you figure out, well, which of these do I more usually operate in? Like, which of these systems? How have I in my past even embodied some of these? When has it felt really good to be one way or another? So that's it for tonight. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I know I kind of rushed through some of it. The letter today, if you're following along, is I, if you're part of our contest there. So today's letter is I. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Now that you have all of this wonderful subarchetype information, we're going to start putting into practice and start showing you on a global level why all of this is important, and why whatever piece of that you identify with and you really like hang on to and say, yeah, that one's me, how that fits into global change and whatever mission you feel inspired to take on with your life. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a great Friday night.